Live CBC Meltdown? Feds exposed for blowing $128,000 to silence free speech in Canada. A firestorm of controversy has engulfed Ottawa as explosive allegations surface accusing the federal government, under the stewardship of Prime Minister Mark Carney, of illicitly channeling $128,000 towards suppressing free speech. This bombshell revelation, if substantiated, threatens to erode the very bedrock of Canadian democracy, casting a long shadow of doubt over transparency, accountability, and the fundamental freedoms that underpin a free and open society. The timing of this scandal is particularly inopportune as Canada navigates a complex landscape of economic uncertainties, escalating regional tensions, and a pervasive sense of detachment between the government and the citizenry it purports to serve. At the heart of this unfolding crisis lies the grave accusation of misusing public funds to monitor and potentially silence dissenting voices. Critics contend that such actions constitute a brazen abuse of power, a direct assault on fundamental rights enshrined in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and a perilous descent towards authoritarianism. The specifics surrounding the allocation and utilization of these funds remain shrouded in secrecy, fueling rampant speculation and intensifying demands for a comprehensive and transparent investigation. Was this money deployed to surveil online activity? To manipulate media narratives? To intimidate political adversaries? The answers to these critical questions are paramount to fully comprehending the scope of the alleged malfeasance and holding those culpable to account. Prime Minister Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of Canada who transitioned into the political arena, now finds himself squarely at the epicenter of this burgeoning political maelstrom. Upon assuming leadership of the Liberal Party, Carney pledged a new era characterized by transparency and unwavering accountability. However, these damning allegations stand in stark contradiction to those very promises, casting a pall of suspicion over his leadership and raising profound questions about his genuine commitment to upholding democratic principles. Opposition parties, spearheaded by Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, have wasted no time in capitalizing on the scandal, vociferously demanding Carney's immediate resignation and calling for an exhaustive and impartial investigation into the matter. The controversy is further compounded by the enduring issue of Western alienation, a persistent source of tension within the Canadian Federation. For years, residents of Alberta and Saskatchewan have voiced concerns that their perspectives are systematically disregarded in Ottawa and that their substantial contributions to the national economy are consistently undervalued. This pervasive sense of alienation has fueled separatist sentiments, with a segment of the population advocating for the establishment of an independent Western nation, free from the perceived dominance of central Canada. The federal government's alleged attempt to stifle free speech serves only to exacerbate these existing tensions, reinforcing the perception that Ottawa is fundamentally out of touch with the needs and concerns of Western Canadians. Premier Scott Moe of Saskatchewan has emerged as a prominent voice in opposition to the federal government's policies, accusing it of neglecting the economic interests of the West and imposing regulations that disproportionately harm the region's key industries. Moe has been particularly critical of the federal government's carbon tax, arguing that it unfairly burdens Saskatchewan's agricultural and energy sectors, thereby undermining the province's economic competitiveness. He has also raised concerns about the fairness of the federal equalization payment system, asserting that Saskatchewan is not receiving its equitable share of federal funding. The economic backdrop against which this political drama unfolds is equally unsettling. Canada's economy is currently grappling with a confluence of challenges, including escalating inflation rates, alarmingly high levels of household debt, and a discernible slowdown in global economic growth. The Bank of Canada, under its current leadership, has been implementing a series of interest rate hikes in an attempt to curb inflation, but this monetary policy tightening has also resulted in increased borrowing costs for both consumers and businesses. The federal government's fiscal policies have also come under intense scrutiny, with critics arguing that the government is engaging in excessive spending and accumulating unsustainable levels of national debt. The media landscape in Canada is also playing a pivotal role in shaping public perception of the unfolding scandal. Some media outlets have adopted a critical stance towards the federal government, meticulously highlighting the allegations of free speech suppression and questioning Prime Minister Carney's leadership capabilities. Other media organizations have exercised greater caution, emphasizing the importance of conducting a thorough investigation before arriving at any definitive conclusions. Public trust in the media has been steadily declining in recent years, with a growing number of Canadians expressing concerns about bias and political motivations within news organizations. Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, has emerged as a central figure in the opposition's response to the controversy. Poilievre has been a vocal and persistent critic of the Liberal government, accusing it of being disconnected from the concerns of ordinary Canadians and of pursuing policies that are detrimental to the country's economic well-being. He has called for a change in government, arguing that the Conservative Party offers a more responsible and fiscally prudent alternative, one that prioritizes economic growth, individual freedom, and responsible governance. As this political crisis deepens, Canadians are confronted with a series of profound and unsettling questions. Can the federal government be trusted to uphold the fundamental principles of democracy? Is the Canadian media providing fair, accurate, and unbiased coverage of the news? Are Canada's political leaders genuinely representing the interests of their constituents, or are they primarily serving their own political ambitions? The answers to these critical questions will have far-reaching implications for the future of Canada, shaping the course of its political landscape and determining the nature of its democratic institutions. The allegations of free speech suppression have sent tremors throughout Canadian society, raising fundamental questions about the health and vitality of the country's democratic framework. The coming weeks and months will be pivotal in determining whether the truth will ultimately prevail and whether those responsible for any wrongdoing will be held accountable for their actions. The future trajectory of Canada may well hinge on the outcome of this unfolding crisis. The public demands transparency, accountability, and a government that genuinely represents the interests of all Canadians, not just a privileged few. The current crisis presents an opportunity for Canada to reaffirm its unwavering commitment to democratic values and to construct a more just, equitable, and prosperous society for all its citizens. It is a moment of reckoning that will test the resilience of Canadian democracy and shape the nation's identity for generations to come.